Here we go again. Today we're going to be doing our mock draft. This is a pre-Super Bowl mock draft. This is our last mock draft of the NFL season. On Sunday we will have a Super Bowl winner, either the New England Patriots or the Seattle Seahawks. I really do think it'll be Seattle. But without further ado, let's get into it with the most obvious pick one there is. Fernando Mendoza, no question about it, unless he somehow develops some injury or something. There's no argument here really. So there's no doubt about it for pick one there. Pick two now, obviously with all the quarterbacks going back to school, the Jets are, left out pretty poorly. I still think here the pick is Arvell Reese. You could make the case for Bailey or Bain at that pick as well. You could say Love perhaps, but he's just not that same prospect that Barkley was, who went number two. Obviously, a couple of the other running backs that even went that high. Obviously, more recent one would be Bijan, but he didn't go till pick 9, I believe, to Atlanta. But I still think Arvell Reese is the pick. I just don't see them reaching. You do need receiver, like obviously Tyson Tate and Lemon, but I just don't love it. So moving on to the Cardinals, who we now know who their head coach is, Mike LaFleur. The OC is Hackett. Hate him, but LaFleur was good for the Rams. The Rams former OCs, they have a good history of being good head coaches. And I think you're going to target a guy on offense here. I do think Jeremiah Love could probably be more in play, but my pick here is going to be Spencer Fano, if I can ever find him. Right here. I think he's the best offensive tackle in the class, and I think the tackles in this class are just going to keep soaring up. Like you have Dunker and Monroe Freeling. Those are two guys who soared up some of these mocks as of late. I think Spencer Fano, probably pick 3. Mawaga, definitely very close to him. Even you scroll down here, you got a couple more. I mean, Proctor, Lomu. I know a lot of people like Lomu too. They think he might be better than Fano. Seen some talk about it, but without further ado, let's continue here with pick 4 with the Tennessee Titans. I'd love if they took a receiver for Cam Ward, but obviously this is a very deep receiver class. You did hire Dable. You could take Love. I don't think Downs is here. I think it's really Bain or Tate or Tyson. I think the pick here is Bain. I just think he's too good to pass up on. I think he would be perfect with Salah on that defense, and I think this is just a home run pick at 4. Obviously, they win that game against Arizona, which literally made them not get the number 1 pick. Could have been very interesting. Could have got a lot of assets. Now with the Giants at 5, I'm sticking with it, and I'm staying with Caleb Downs, who just makes so much sense for the Giants. I think he's a top 3 player in this class. I just think he's super talented. He's such a great leader. He'd be perfect on that defense. Yeah. Moving on to number 6, as we fire through it, I'm still torn here. I'd like to take receiver, but I think Mawaga makes more sense just because of the depth of the receiver class here. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mawaga again. I just think he's a probably top 7 pick. He could definitely go to the Giants there. The Titans could take him. I mean, you don't know. You never know with the Jets, right? Obviously, Washington does. The Chiefs do. Bengals kinda. The Saints, their offensive line's actually pretty good. That started, they took Banks last year. He was very good. But with pick number 7, with the Washington Commanders, David Bailey is a home run pick at 7. He's so good. This edge class is disgusting. He will be awesome there, I hope. That's just a pick that makes too much sense. He's just very, very talented. But, it's a very deep class. Obviously, you have Reese and Bain in here as well. And pick number 8, could they go Love? I do think they really could. I see Love in there. I see Tyson, Tate. I even see Lemon. Like I said, I think Lemon For the Saints, I think he makes more sense than Tyson. I think Tate's definitely in the equation. I'm gonna go with Lemon again here, just because I think he fits the Saints super well, and I think he's arguably wide receiver one. I think all these three guys are very, very close. And at pick number 9, I'm going to continue firing in with Jeremiah Love. Mahomes needs a running back. Last year we saw Mahomes had his worst year of his career. He had the worst running back room of his career. You need to help the guy out. You need to get him a player. I'd love if, well, I'd love from like a fantasy perspective or just for a player's career. If they got Lemon, he would be disgusting there. I think Tyson and Tate. I just combined Tyson and Tate there. Could be really good there too. But here we are at pick number 10 with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, you could go a couple different ways. This one's a little tough. I'm going to go differently here because I think Sonny Styles is a guy who's just. It's Sonny Styles or Mansour Delane, but I'm going to go with Sonny Styles here because I think he is a very deserving top 10, top 12 pick. I think he's just super talented. He would be perfect on that defense. They need somebody to just dominate on defense. Obviously, Caleb Downs, if he could make it to 10, would be awesome for them. I just don't see it happening, to be honest. So, moving on to pick 11. Obviously, they hired Jeff Hafley as the head coach. I'm torn here again. This is between literally the top 4. Obviously, McCoy, Delane. I'm still putting Delane a little over McCoy at the moment. Tyson, I still have over Tate. It's just kind of situational. But I'm going to go with Mansour Delane. I do still think he is going to go first off the board in here. And I think the second guy goes right here with the Dallas Cowboys. Assuming they don't lose Pickens, they probably won't take a receiver. And I think their greatest need, doesn't list it, is the cornerback position. We saw all year how bad it was. They had many different replacement level guys. They had Diggs they cut. They had Bland, who was bad when he played. Just, it's a position that really could be improved. And now at pick 13 with the LA Rams, could you go Lomu? I think that's a reach of sorts. Corner. Unfortunately, both the corners went off right before it. I do really think a receiver is in play, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go with Jordan Tyson here at pick number 13. I just think the Rams, besides Puka and Adams, very weak, and especially when Adams went down, this team regressed heavily. Now I do really like Terrence Ferguson at the tight end position long term, but I still think this is a team that just needs that guy, if that makes sense. Needs that other guy. Now, Adams, obviously, pretty old. I believe he's 32 now, maybe 33. I mean, he's been playing since 2014. I think that adds up as well. But he was very injury prone when he came back from injury. He didn't look himself. I really do think they could take a receiver. Obviously, most ideal for them would be one of the corners or Sonny Styles. Any of those guys fall, they would instantly take them. Now at pick 14, I'm going to go with Carnell Tate. I like what they're doing all off season. Jesse Minter, great hire, one of the best hires out there in this window. In a weaker window, obviously, you don't have guys like Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Vrabel, but they get Jesse Minter, who I think is, I mean, you could make the argument that he's the best hire in the window. Then he goes and hires the Bears QB coach to be the OC. Great hire. Love that. Already guys getting taken from the Ben Johnson coaching tree. Can't ask for more than that, really. So, now at pick 15, I'm going to go back to it with Sadiq. I still don't know what the Bucs are going to do. Obviously, this is a big year for them because if they don't perform, Todd Bowles is gone. The GM's probably gone too. You need to get more offense, and Evans, we don't know. Retirement, trade, no, retirement or leaves in free agency. Who knows, really? We have no clue yet. I do really think Kenyon Sadiq would be a difference maker. I mean, he's a very good prospect at tight end. Another really good first round pick at tight end in the NFL. Obviously, there's some concerns with his size, and I've seen some effort concerns even too, but I still think he's a very good prospect, and I think for this team they need another guy on offense with Puka, J Mac, I guess Godwin. Godwin I could definitely see getting restructured and released, or restructured and traded, or something like that, because that contract was not a good one. They're paying him out of more like what he's done for the team, not what he's going to do, which is what I fucking hate in sports, because MLB loves doing that as well. But let me not continue with that. Let's go on to pick 16 with the New York Jets, who have a lot of needs here. Obviously, quarterback is a huge need, with Ty Simpson being the number one option. It's unfortunate because I have no fucking clue what this team's doing, because they don't seem to know. They're one of their most promising like pieces all year was their offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand, who went to the Falcons staff. What are we doing? He leaves because they want to give offensive play call duties to Greg Roman. Greg Roman doesn't join, and now Frank Reich's the fucking OC. Frank Reich, who one of the worst head coaches there is. He was absolutely horrific for the Panthers. He, unless you're trying to go for a tank, Aaron Glenn is gone. Unless they manage to somehow hit every draft pick this offseason and somehow manage to find a quarterback. I think they're going to panic, and I do think they're going to take Ty Simpson here. This is a team that's fully lost. I thought they were headed in the right direction. I like Aaron Glenn. I like Tanner Engstrand. I like Wilson, Brees. The offensive line, really good. You have some strength on defense, but they're just going backwards again. It's the same story over and over again, and it's a sad part of sports where you just have shitty management that really just you can't grow in. Baseball, like I said earlier, the ownership in that horrible too, but it's starting to get bad in football with some of these teams, like the Cincinnati Bengals too. But with pick 17, I do like Cassius Howell and Falk here. I still think corner is such a huge need, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Terrell. I'm pretty torn on that one, just because they could really benefit from corner or edge rusher, but I think the edge rusher. I think Muhammad cut an extension, and obviously you have Hutchinson. The other side of him, I don't think it's a first round pick position really, but I think corner is. Obviously, you have Terrion Arnold, you have DJ Reed, but the rest is not very good, and it's just like you just need to improve it. And I think Terrell is a really good player. I think he's a guy who could keep rising up. You never know. I thought about him when I was picking for the Rams at 13. So, moving on to the Vikings at 18. Now, if this guy's available here, this is a home run hit. It's not as exciting because defensive line is never exciting, but Peter Woods is a very, very good prospect, and whoever gets him will be very, very happy with him. Now, at 19, interesting one here with the Panthers. They list their needs at receiver, defensive line, and linebacker. I don't know about the receiver aspect as much, because I know they like Coker, but obviously Leggett was terrible, and T-Mac just won Rookie of the Year. This is kind of just one of the harder ones. I still think you're going to go Cassius Howell, just the best player available, and he is a need for them in general. Obviously, we took McCoy earlier for Dallas as well. I'm going to go Keldrick Falk, the second of the edge rushers to fall here. Could Trinidad Chambliss go at 21? Maybe. I really don't know what his stock's going to be like. I do think Nussmeier's stock has improved off that Senior Bowl game. Like last week I said, I think he could have really improved his stock, and he did. You had other guys that improved their stock, like Jay Knott. And some guys hurt theirs, like Pavia. But and with Dallas, edge, that's kind of that second need. Obviously, you lose Parsons, so and then you get roasted by John Hamm about losing him. So it's what are you gonna do with Seattle or with jeez, with Pittsburgh at 21? I don't know, man. A tackle could definitely be in the cards. Mike McCarthy's the coach. I don't know. These coordinator hires are questionable. I really don't know what direction this team's going to go. Will Howard would be interesting if he was the quarterback. I do think Denzel Boston is in the cards here. I don't know about it. I'm going to go Caleb Lomo here. Because I think that's a more likely pick for them. Because this is a team that likes playing receivers who stink, really. I mean, look at the receivers the last couple of years, basically. Obviously, you had the good years of Mike Wallace, Hines Ward, Antonio Brown. Then you even had Juju. Chase Claypool was good. Deontay Johnson was pretty good. And then since it's just not as pretty. Obviously, you had Pickens as well, who they somehow couldn't figure out how to use properly. And then this year they had DK Metcalf. Who knows what's going to happen at quarterback? I really do think they could probably take Chambliss. Maybe Nussmeier's in the play too. Who knows? Now with the Chargers, you have one clear need, and that is offensive line. The defensive line obviously could be helped. Caleb Banks would be awesome. You have to take Ione there. There's no doubt about it there at all. Now, if Sadiq was here for the Eagles, he would be a perfect pick. I do think TJ Parker would be good. I don't think they'll take a corner here personally. I don't. I mean, this is a harder one. The edge rushers all year were kind of a problem for Philly. Obviously, their defensive line was so good inside, but the outer side was a little bit weaker. Even linebacker, I think, could be improved. Obviously, you have Zach Bond, but Nakobe Dean is a free agent, and he's likely to leave. So, who knows what's going to happen? Now, at 24, I'm going to go Denzel Boston. Who knows what's going to happen at quarterback for the Browns this year, but I do think Denzel Boston is a good player and a good pick for them at 24, which leaves Caleb Banks at 25 for the Bears. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. He's dropping a lot because I'm taking. I mean, I guess I could have taken him at 19, but who knows? At the end of the day, sometimes you reach on Clelon Ferrell or Tyree Wilson, right? Right, Raiders. So 26 here. I mean, I'm going with the guy that I really think would be great there in Conception. Um, he's one of my favorite receivers in the class at the moment. And yeah, I know I had Omar Cooper last time in the first round as well. Could he be back in play here? Obviously, you have Chris Bell. You have a couple other guys. I've seen, Chris Brazell up there a lot too. Could he be in there at 27? I do think they have a huge need at guard, and I think, well, we don't even know what's going to happen with Trent Williams yet, but Proctor, Freeling, or, Pregnon, you could go with the Iowa guy, Dunker. This guy, his stock went way up as well lately. And he looks like a beast. Like you've seen the pictures of like Quinn Miners pre-draft. I mean, he's got his belly hanging out like a D2 player. He's got like the freaking, the stash. He just looks like a fucking baller, bro. And I think, Dunker probably has the same thing. With the Niners here, though, I'm going to go with Caden Proctor. I'm assuming they would move him inside, but if not, I do think he would be potential Trent Williams replacement, really. But more likely, he's going to be moved inside there. And I think he's just a better prospect than Pregnon. So with the Texans, I'm going to go with Monroe Freeling. who is a very good tackle. And they just need offensive line help really, really bad. Obviously, with the Rams earlier, we did take Jordan Tyson. Now here I'm going to go with Brandon Cisse, who I really do like. And I do think, you know, they could take corner earlier. Who knows? We're not even close enough yet, so we don't really know. Yeah, obviously, you have free agency before that. That's a real decider of kind of what the team's direction is, especially at some of these like primary positions, like corner, receiver even. Like the Rams could bring in another receiver, then I look at like an idiot with saying Tyson, right? So pick 30 here with the greatest team on earth. C.J. Allen, maybe. I do think Caden McDonald is a great pick, though. And I do think John Franklin Myers is going to leave in free agency, so I do think it makes a lot of sense. And I do think they might get Nakobe Dean. With the Pats here, I'm just going to go with C.J. Allen. I just think. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to go with Matt Zador, actually, because I just think he's a very good edge rusher. Obviously, his stock was really improved. Worked with Jason Taylor. He was on the other side of Bain. Just had a very, very good year, and he's well deserving of a first round pick. Now at 32, Colton Hood falls down. Finally opens up for a new player picked at 32. Now I'm going to go with Keith Abney, who had a very good year at ASU. Very good prospect. I had him in my Texas State rebuild on College Football 26. Somehow I got him to transfer there. Who fucking knows? But that is all from me in this one, and I will see y'all next week after the Super Bowl, and we have all the picks decided. So go Seahawks, and fuck the Pats. Peace out.